It is worth starting a travel agency nowadays. Hello, I am a young entrepreneur who bought a travel agency in Bavaria in Germany 3 years ago. In general, the tourism industry is interesting, exciting and diverse, but there are two things I would not recommend. Working as an employee in a travel agency due to low pay and starting from scratch by opening a new agency without specification. As a new travel agency owner, you don't have an established customer base and your brand awareness is quite low. Depending on the location, it can take a long time to reach your break-even point. For this reason, I decided to acquire an existing travel agency with a long-standing customer base. My desire to be self-employed was so strong that during the search for a company to acquire, I didn't conduct a thorough analysis. I only looked at the numbers of the travel agency that I wanted to take over, and the numbers were good at the time. And after consulting with a tax advisor, I made the decision to take over the agency without much hesitation. As the saying goes, real life begins in practice. Once you are actually in the business, you start to see what is often overlooked or ignored before acquiring a small company, especially in the travel agency sector. For example, dependencies. Does most of the revenue come from few major clients? For example, corporate travel, or is it well diversified? Customer acquisition. How does the agency attract new customers? Is there enough walk-in traffic? Catchment area, especially important in smaller towns with limited infrastructure. When you are fully involved in the business, you begin to clearly see what the real problems are. After 3 years of experience as a travel agency owner, I can now say when it actually makes sense to acquire an existing agency. Taking over a small independent agency without employees or even several such agencies is rarely worthwhile today. You need to go far beyond the traditional travel agency model. If you acquire a travel agency simply to act as an intermediary for package holidays, flights and travel companies, you are entering very dangerous territory. While the pure intermediary model is extremely risky today, the commission squeeze. As a pure intermediary, you are dependent on your operators. If they decide to reduce commission from 10 to 8%, a large portion of your profit disappears instantly, while your fixed cost, rent or staff remain or increase. The airline ticket dilemma. Selling flights ticket today generates almost no profit. Agencies often charge a service fee, but the workload, for example rebooks, strikes, cancellations, disproportionate in the income. It is more customer service than a profit center. The showrooming risk. You bear the cost of consulting and maintaining a physical office, but the customer goes home and books the same package online, often at the same price. Without a unique value proposition, you become easily replaceable. If you don't organize your own travel products and don't have a clear specialization, for example business travel, wedding trips or safari tours, acquiring a traditional agency is almost reckless move. In essence, you are buying a legacy problem with labor-intensive structures in a time of rising wages, dependence on third-party providers, and high transparency. Customers compare prices instantly on their smartphones. Without the leverage of creating your own travel products, or at least a strong niche specialization, you are at the very bottom of the tourism value chain. You work hard for the margins of others. What I consider the optimal business model. In my opinion, you should aim to control the entire value chain, or at least a significant part of it, and strive for vertical integration. A good example is Vetter Touristik from Saxony-Anhalt. They have not only more than 40 traditional brick-and-mortar travel agencies, including independent offices and 2 franchise agencies, but also their own buses and passenger trip. That means they are more broadly positioned and operate not only as intermediaries but also as a tour operators. In my opinion, this kind of business model in the tourism industry is sustainable and highly scalable. So, what do you think? Does the travel agency business still have a future?